Hello, welcome to this week's video. You'll be excited, it's on hormones. So boys and girls, it's for all of us, but I think as a female, we are not taught enough about how our hormones work in school, and it would be wonderful to change that. So I'm going to try and give it a crack. I've been studying it lately for months, but I'm just doing an extra module in hormones for my course. But this one is all on the woman's menstrual cycle through all phases of life and how to help it. And when it's got niggles and signs and symptoms that it needs support, how to address them and get onto them and not just suffer or shut it off. So we don't want to do that. So how do you shut off your hormones? Well, there's many ways to do it. I did it pretty good when I was in my early 20s. I just got super stressed with work when I was working on the cruise ships for 4 years, and what else? Probably didn't know how to balance my blood sugar with eating correctly as well. So stress and bad blood sugar choices through food and lifestyle. Yeah, definitely just shut it off. Crazy, right? I did try the pill once. That was a bad experience for me. It didn't last long. But I want to start by talking about the contraceptive pill because I find it so interesting how people think it fixes their hormones. But I mean, that's what their doctor tells them. So, I guess that's why they think that. So let me enlighten you on that subject because it doesn't fix anything. It's a band-aid. And yes, the contraceptive pill has a place because there is sometimes with people who suffer with endometriosis and different things, it has a timeline until they can figure out another way. But when we start our menstruation, it's called menarche, and unfortunately for a lot of girls, they're not taught this natural remedies, how to sort the symptoms out. So the thing about our menstrual cycle, it's a wonderful report card for your health. Tells us what you were doing last month. So it's a month delayed report card. So when we start, it's always a bit clunky because the system's just getting started, and a bit like riding a bike. It's not pain-free at the beginning, and the truth is you're not cycling straight away estrogen and progesterone, so it's just predominantly estrogen to start with, and that's why it can be a bit heavy. But if we can bring in that progesterone nice and quickly by nourishing her, that will balance that out. So heavy periods normally mean progesterone's not at play yet, or if you're a little older, we need to address that because if progesterone's not at play, unfortunately, you're not going to get all the beautiful benefits from her. So she is a natural calming hormone. So all my girls that get a little anxious or a little bit mentally depressed or low, you want your progesterone to be at play because it makes you happy, it calms you down. So it's nature's anti-anxiety med. It also has beautiful effects on the body bones. So this was crazy. So for adolescent girls, so my younger girls, it's going to make strong bones throughout your lifespan. So really important. It actually was critical in developing years in the teens and 20s. So you want to be getting that ovulation happening. It also helps protect our breasts and our uterus, and it does promote beautiful skin. So win-win-win. Progesterone is a bit of a miracle. To actually ovulate is a miracle in itself. It's how it all happens. So a lot of things seem to throw it out in modern lifestyles. So what throws it out? So obviously anything like a pill or lots of ways that have synthetic hormones, they're going to turn off the pituitary gland, and when you turn that off, you're not ovulating, which means less chance of getting pregnant, right? But here's the thing, all those beautiful benefits of ovulation are now lost. So there is other ways of contraception. The science showed that, or some of the research I'm reading, over 50% of women in their adolescent years, called menarche, didn't go on the pill for contraception. They went on it for acne, for painful periods, X, Y, and Z, all these sort of other reasons that 100% can be managed through lifestyle and choices and nutritional support. So Great news, we don't have to use it as a band-aid for those purposes, but we do have to become informed and educated. So that's why we're here having a chat. So when we start, we know that if we're getting heavy bleeding at the beginning, it's quite normal, which we also might notice our iron might be a bit low, which is very, very common. So we might need to work a little bit harder to support this. And we want to nourish progesterone. So how do we do that? Well, sometimes I have to think about what throws it out, and then I can counterbalance the nourishment. So what throws it out, it can be stress. So it says when progesterone, cortisol is our stress hormone. Okay. When cortisol goes high, progesterone gets shy. That's kind of what happens. So that means that if you are very stressed or overstimulated, it's a good likely chance because cortisol might just go, progesterone won't come through. So we want to manage the stress. Sometimes the week before our period, have you ever noticed you get a little bit more hungry? Yeah, it's meant to be. So progesterone wants a little bit more healthy carbs. So healthy carbs can be your root vegetables, some fruits, some ancient grains. So we want to eat a little bit more at that time of the month to nourish progesterone. If we're constantly calorie restricting and on really strong diets and things like that, low carb diets, they can really stop progesterone's job. And it's not a lot more, but your body will tell you when you start to feed it. Over exercising, pushing your body too hard, a lot of athletes lose their menstrual cycle as well, or have what's called an anovulation cycle. So that's another one. What else? So there's a long list, but that's some of them. So when we ovulate, we make a lot of progesterone ideally, and how many days we make it is also important. And you can track that. I can teach you that if you like. Ask me and I'll show you how to do that. So we want to have both. We want to have healthy estrogen and we want to have healthy progesterone. But when we don't have healthy everything, our period is our monthly report card. So it's going to tell us. So what does a healthy period look like? Well, basically it should just come in without any signs or symptoms apart from sometimes a little bit of bloatedness the day before, a little bit of tiredness, but really that's it. If I'm getting a lot of cramps, I know my magnesium's low. If I'm seeing heavy bleed and clots in the blood, I know that my liver needs help. I know that my progesterone's probably a bit shy, hasn't been coming through. If I notice a lot of breast tenderness, I know my iodine's probably quite low. So minerals nourish hormones. They're actually the fuel to function. So that's fascinating. And also vitamin B. So I wasn't methylating Bs. I found out more recently, particularly B12 for me. But methylated Bs can be a wonderful supplement because it really helps the detoxification pathways in the body, and it really helps hormones, nourishes them up. Remember, hormones are chemical messages that actually they're kind of produced by the glands of the endocrine system. So they are responsible for everything in the body, from mental health to physical health. So of course it's going to show up in your skin's health as well. Why do we get acne? Ugh, I wish I could fix everyone's acne. It's a horrible emotional condition, and sadly it doesn't stop and puberty anymore. You see a lot of adults with acne, and it can leave a whole lot of scarring, and that was my history journey. So the great news is that it's fixable. So we obviously want to sterilize the skin with the right cleansing and build up the vitamin A, C, and E, and bring in some AHAs to sterilize it. But if we work topically there, we can control the acne. When we're in our adolescence, we got to remember that our oil glands are twice the size. So when you've got hormones fluctuating, clunky getting into play, you've got genetic weakness, maybe one of your parents was a little bit more prone to that as well, and then you've got testosterone coming into play, and it puts a bacteria in the oil, and this is where we see the acne lesions show up. But we can all address that through supporting the skin nutritionally and then supporting the inside of the body. So minerals, the right skin program. Wild yam cream is something I love. Everyone, all ages, men and women, can benefit from wild yam cream. Why? Well, it nourishes progesterone. It's not a hormone. That's the cool thing. It's actually applied topically twice a day, and you stop break when you're bleeding because your hormones are flatlined, so you don't really need to nourish them. What we notice is chemicals mimic estrogen, particularly things like plastics. You hear the word xenoestrogen. There's a name called estrogen dominance. All it means is in the second half of the cycle, when your progesterone is meant to go high and stay strong, doesn't happen because there's too much estrogen mimicking chemicals in the body with all these plastics and xenoestrogens, and actually the body thinks, oh, I got too much of this, so I can't metabolize it out, so I just can't make progesterone until you deal with this. So that's why we have to clean up our house with what we clean it with. We have to be careful with plastics in the food, in the water, even on the clothing. We just really have to clean all that up. Otherwise, xenoestrogens become a big problem. So the liver doesn't just detox all your toxins, it also detoxes hormones. So it's very common that we've got so much toxins coming in through our air, our water, and our food. I'm talking about lifestyle habits, that the liver's like, I'm busy. There's one road in, one road out. So what can happen at cycling month is all going to the liver, and the liver's too busy, so it chucks it back into the blood. So sometimes we've got recycling xenoestrogen or estrogen mimicking. This is a problem because now progesterone's also less likely to do her job. So we want to clean that up and support the liver. So if you've got symptoms of sort of clots in the blood or really heavy periods, supporting your liver is a great idea. Most of us service our car once a year. We give them oil change. Why not service your liver? Makes sense, right? You only get one. So liver loving. I must admit, I found the most amazing experience when I got my minerals up. So things like iodine, methylated Bs, obviously not a mineral, but Bs, magnesium and zinc, they were kind of like key for my minerals to do a really good job. If someone's on something like the pill, we just need to know that it's going to be leaching out the minerals really quickly. Do you know where your mineral reserves are in your body? You have a bank account of them. They're in your bones. So they actually have found through new research that a lot of bone perforation or weak bones or osteoarthritis or pretty much fragile bones can be due to the fact that the individual wasn't making progesterone. So they were on the pill maybe, or they were doing something that inhibited progesterone release and the bones didn't get dense, and then they'd been dipping into the piggy bank of the minerals, and now we've got perforated bones. So not a bad idea to get a bone density check if you're a little older, but also minerals, having good quality minerals, dose dependent, and also the type of mineral is really important if you're going to get results there. Wild yam cream, I've mentioned that one. So that one obviously can be used all ages. The person who is maybe on the pill and considering coming it off would actually start preparing their body for it with the right amount of minerals and obviously using wild yam cream. So when you try and restart that system, it won't be so clunky, as well as the right skincare. So have I covered everything? So basically, we want to love up our adrenal glands. I knew there was one. So the adrenal glands, when we go through menopause, all that should happen is our sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone, close up shop in the ovaries and hands the ball over to the adrenals. Unfortunately, a lot of us have been working too hard, giving too much, undernourishing, maybe dieting too much, doing lots of things that unfortunately the adrenals haven't been supported enough, and they're like, what, you want me to now make a little bit of estrogen progesterone as well? Like, so we can get a tough time at menopause because the bodies and the liver and all of it's not being loved. So simply going through this checklist. So to recap, support your liver, Make sure you're getting adequate minerals for your body and hormone needs. If you're on birth control, have a chat and think about why you're taking it, and is there a way that you can get progesterone, because you only get so many hits in your life. Crazy, but that's true. And they're an absolute miracle that the body can even do it. It's not easy for the body to do. And I suppose that's where this part now, where a lot of people might even have all the symptoms of a healthy period, but when we do checks of their progesterone levels, they're really, really poor. So that's why their symptoms, they're getting a lot of mental health problems, a lot of skin problems, a lot of physical health problems. And the great news is completely treatable. Yeah, we change nutrition density, we change and support them in the right means, and the body starts doing its thing. Pretty unreal. So when your body's working for you, you're a much more balanced human being, and you'll have a lot more beautiful skin. I noticed I've personally been working more on, I sleep really well, I eat really well. I have got wild yam cream, been happening for years. They're all keys. I do seed cycling. But my mineral levels, I've been really focusing on that and methylated Bs. And that has been a game changer for me. Like literally wonderful. My skin doesn't break out around menstruation anymore. My period comes in with like barely any signs and symptoms. That's what you want. I've been also checking my progesterone levels regularly, and it seems to be doing better than I thought they were for my age. So wonderful news. Everything can be fixed, but it is a little tailored. So please let me know if you have questions. The point of this is to try and create awareness around our body and how it works when it comes to hormones, because we have to educate our practitioners. Unfortunately, not everyone is so keeping up with the new research. So please, if you have questions, leave below, and enjoy this beautiful day that's turning into. Bye for now.